Editor's note here. I know it's wild to have an editor's note at the start of the video, but it is what it is. Due to my laptop messing up, the audio on this will not be from my mic, as you can hear, but from my iPhone. So it's gonna be a bit, yeah. But anyway, apologies. Back to the video. What happens if adults started eating and killing all the kids in the world? This is what this horror book is about. Before I get into my book review on Simon Clarke's Blood Crazy, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell us what you think in the comments. Also, this video is sponsored by the Critical Reader newsletter. I email everyone once a week just with book talks, book reviews, things of that nature. Link is in the description. But back to this. So, released in 1995, this is about a world where adults have started killing their children, particularly all children, but particularly their own, and they're on some full-scale extermination shit. Basically, this is not what I was expecting. This is a horror book, but it reads more like a young adult horror book. I don't know if that's a thing. It definitely reads like a YA dystopian post-apocalyptic book for sure, and I actually wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting a more adult horror book, but I liked it. It's a good book. We kind of get into the madness straight away. Right, it is happening. We follow our main character Nick. This is written from his point of view only, and he's with his friend at the start of the book, and it's happening. The crazy panic hasn't set in just yet. It's more confusion, like a subtle confusion, and then reality hits home really, really quickly that the adults are really just killing everyone. And so we follow Nick as he picks up strays and he tries to survive in, this new world order. And it's kind of weird what these adults are doing. They're kind of in like this zombie-like kind of manner as well. That's the thing. The killing's more in a zombie-esque kind of trance kind of way, instead of having their full faculties about them and killing. Because if adults had their full faculties and wanted to kill kids, there would be no kids left, of course. So it's more like a dumb zombie, pure instinct kind of way, or so it seems from the start. And so we follow Nick as he, comes to grips with this world in his small town, Doncaster, that is set in the States. And eventually he picks up strays, and eventually they find a community of kids that have banded together and that defend themselves and, try to live in this crazy world. I liked this book. It's a weird book. It jumped around a lot. Like it kind of seemed strange because at the start it kind of seemed like we were gonna go down the sort of the Neville Shute route with what is that book? I forgot the name of it. The one where what's his name's the last person on Earth and there's vampires around. I thought we were gonna go down that kind of solitary route with Nick, but we don't. He picks up strays, and I'm like, okay, maybe he picks up a girl called Sarah who's around his age. Nick is about 17. And it's everyone that's under 19 or 18 that's being killed. But if you're 18 and you're on the cusp, and then you turn older, and obviously you get older, but you're outside of that threshold before it happens. You don't turn into a kind of kid eating zombie, You're kind of okay, which is strange. But he and Sarah and her sisters, he picks them up, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's gonna be just as close knit. But no, we kind of jump again to the communities, and then we're moving around trying to evade these adults with this large group of other kids as well. This book lacks a lot of, I don't know, I guess the world building, the subtle world building is lacking in this book. For example, in the communities that we see, we learn that there are babies in this group. Like there's like 3-week-old babies, and this is at like the start of the madness. There are week-old babies all the way up to teenagers, and so that's a madness in itself. Like, how are you gonna look after a baby? Who's looking after the toddlers? Who's looking after the very, very young, who, at that stage are very dependent on adults, or at this stage an above emotionally intelligent kid, and we don't really, that's daunting, right? And we don't really get an explanation about that. We don't really kind of sit with that and kind of build the world with like the kids really taking care of the young like that. We see the kids doing tasks, patrols, cooking, cleaning, etc., and try to like maintain order in this community. But just the deep, emotional, terrifying thing of looking after the super, super young, that isn't explored. But anyway, eventually, there's a whole bunch of different theories as to what's happened, and obviously that's at the start of the book. But as we progress and it becomes all about survival, that's kind of dropped. But then towards the end-ish of the book, it's picked up a lot, and we are info dumped with basically what the primary theory is as to what is going on. I liked the explanation of what's happening with the adults. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty unique as well. But it was an info dump, and it was a bit weird. But yeah. But anyway, going back to the characters, Nick, he's a likable protagonist. He is a 17-year-old who's kind of very street smart, but not academically inclined. He dropped out of school, and he's just a regular guy working a regular job now. He's low key a delinquent, like low key, but he's not enough of a delinquent that in the real world he will like end up in jail or something. He's like, he just wants to drink beer, earn his money, and just chill with his friends type of character. And he has an antagonist called Slatter, and Slatter's this tattooed bully guy. If you look at him, he'll just punch you in your face type. It was very comical, very one-dimensional. Their backstory as to why there's such hatred between the two wasn't done very well at all. It kind of really derailed the book. Slatter's actions later on in the book are pretty cool, and how his arc goes, but him and Nick's actual history isn't done well and isn't convincing also. And the fear for Slatter, because apparently he's got tattoos and he's this mean person, is kind of just not believable also. We have other characters in this book. We have, church-loving kids who are trying to like be really good and organize the community. We have sort of hardcore kids who are like going into the military and security, who, have a firm hand, and that's, they rule with an iron fist. And we've seen the community, disintegrate into an oppressive state, one where the girls, the young girls, and well, I guess the adolescent ones, the developed ones mainly, are, used in sexual ways that are just, completely unacceptable. And there are subtle rape scenes and hints as to it throughout the book, and there's no sort of really, it takes a backseat. There's no big panic about it. There's no sitting with it and really discussing it and digesting it and feeling horrified by it. The big bad ultimately is the adults looking to kill all these kids. I thought the behaviors of the adults was pretty well done. It was pretty cool as well. This book really opens up as we learn about other communities, and we kind of learn how they're keeping in touch with other child communities around the world, and hearing about how these other communities are handling the problem they're facing is really interesting also. So yeah, it was a very fast-paced book. I was invested in this book. It's not, it has its flaws, but it's a pretty good read. But yeah, it's is what it is. I was expecting more, especially for the concept. Like, this is an elite concept that deserved a really beefy elite book. It didn't quite get that, but it is what it is. I like the ending also. I thought the ending was cool. I like the sort of mythology and a bit of the theology in this book also. So there's not too much to complain about, but yeah, it's a decent enough read. It's a decent enough read. I would recommend it. I think that, you know, if you want to sort of dip your toes into horror, is a good book to pick up also. And if you like just YA books in general, then this is also a pretty good read too. So yeah, I'm glad I read it. On your screen right now is a playlist of other book reviews, book talks I've done. Check it out. You'll definitely find something there that you like. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.